Hi Eric, how you doing? Yes, I totally agree. This exercise is a blast. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Um, I was just going through your writing here, and I think everything's making really good sense here. Mm, oh, see, I disagree. I think this is strong. I think the one with the bar windows theme is strong. I'll talk about that in a second. But the album title was lacking. I'll talk about that in 1 second. The other thing was strong. Okay. All right. Excellent. Let's go ahead and take a look. I think one of the most important things here is that you're experimenting, and that's fantastic. And I'll talk about each one of these individually, but I want to kind of just give you some general tips and guidelines as how to push your creativity here and how to really get the most out of blending modes. So blending modes, of course, aren't going to work unless you duplicate the background image. So let me show you what I mean. Here, let's take this image right here, and I'm just going to take that, put that in. We'll unlock that background layer. Now, as you can see in the background layer itself, if I can go to a different blending modes and nothing happens, right? Okay, so let's go back to normal. Now, if I duplicate that background layer, now I go to this layer, now you can see some differences. Now the blending modes are interacting with both layers, right? So that is one way that you can really, really push your creativity here. And the reason I say that is because what you want to do is with your background images is experiment with duplicating the background image layer. You can duplicate it 5 times and put 5 different blending modes on each layer, and you really get some crazy results, really interesting stuff. So try that with the background image on all of these. Unless, of course, you want to keep things really simple. Like, I think the simplistic nature of this is the strength here. I love the transparency and the blending modes used in um, in the uh, in the typeface itself. So, okay, so I'd like you to experiment with the background by combining layers and blending modes. Typography, I think, is excellent. These are done very well. I think this is fantastic. This, I think, is really fantastic. I think one of the problems here is it's creating a little bit of visual discomfort. And the reason I say that is this, and follow me on this, okay? So we see the window of the bar here's the bottom of the window. So there's perspective here, right? And the typography almost appears as though it wants to look like it's part of the window, like a decal on the window, but it's not following the perspective of the window itself, right? So I think if you were to change this and try to employ some perspective here, it might make a difference. I don't know. Try it and see. I think the typeface itself is really difficult to read, really difficult. So you might consider changing that typeface itself. Remember I was talking about duplicating layers and experimenting with blending modes. I mean, this image I think is pretty strong. I don't know if I would do that. Try it, definitely try it, work with it. But try it with this one as well too. But I think that you've got some really strong, very strong examples here. I love the type effects you're working on. Really good job here. This one, I think, honestly, I think the word currents is too high in the composition. I would bring that down a little bit, right to about here. It's just too high in the composition. It's almost distracting. It's so high in the composition. I would also recommend you try something else here. Is try left aligning this and bringing it over here. Okay, and I think that might improve the hierarchy of the type since we read top to bottom, left to right. The first thing we would see is Tame Impala, but that's strictly a matter of preference. It's not important. Try different aligning. Sometimes center alignment isn't the most interesting thing. So as a designer, I try to stay away from. So look how much nicer that looks at left aligned here in its relationship here. And I think that as a designer, a lot of times I avoid center alignment at all costs unless I'm doing something like a wedding invitation or a formal invitation. So I just think the negative space associated with left or right aligned type is far superior and much more visually engaging than the negative space associated with center aligned type, which creates perfect symmetry in the counterform or negative space. So think about that. All right, so just some recommendations. Try it. Try these for your submission on Sunday. And if, of course, the important thing right now is if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. All right, fantastic job, Eric. So thanks so much for sharing your work.